Batting second, the second baseman, number 7, Blaze Isaacson. Batting third, the shortstop, number 2, Colby Filgis. Batting cleanup, the center fielder, number 8, Owen Lesko. Batting fifth, the third baseman, number 6, Mason Workin. Batting sixth, the catcher, number 1, Logan Potts. Batting seventh, the first baseman, number 36, Jaron Reagan. Batting eighth, the left fielder, number 24, Jake Kramer. Batting ninth, the designated hitter, number 10, Joey Potts. Number 4, Russell Exner.
And welcome out to Legion Field at Farley Park for our stream here. The tournament is just beginning here. The Centennial Classic American Legion Baseball Tournament. Legion Field at Farley Park. Good morning, everybody. Glad to be along here. I'm Chad Knowles. We'll be here for all games, and all the Milbank games will be on our local radio station as well. Game number 1 today, we have Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota. Post 187 and 253 against Lemoore, North Dakota, post number 19. Let's meet the starting lineups as we are here at the ballpark for Glenwood, the designated home team. They'll bat Miles Wildman. He'll play left field, batting number 2. Pitching, Mark Gruber. Batting number 3 at catching, Dylan Alexander. Batting number 4, first baseman, Noah Jensen. Batting number 5 in right field, Connor Erickson. Batting number 6 at third base, Alex Panitsky. Batting number 7 at shortstop is Levi Johnson. Batting number 8 in center field is Luke Danielson. Batting number 9 at second base is number 15, Nathan Dell. Glenwood Lowry is coached by Paul Johnson and Jeff Panitsky. Now for Lemoore, North Dakota, they will go with pitching Connor Thielgis. He'll lead off. Batting number 2 at second base, Blaze Isaacson. Batting number 3 at shortstop, Colby Thielgis. Batting cleanup, number 8 is Owen Lesko. Batting number 5 in third base, Mason Workin. Batting number 6, the catcher, Logan Potts. Batting number 7 at first base, number 36, Jaron Reagan. Batting number 8 in left field, Jake Kramer. And batting number 9, the DH, Joey Potts. And Lemoore, North Dakota is coached by Jason Thielgis, and he's assisted by Gage Dunn. Again, welcome in everybody to our video and audio stream only here for this game.
Levi Johnson.
Glad to have everybody along here this afternoon. Beautiful day here so far in Milbank. Get a brand new ballpark here in Milbank. Legion Field at Farley Park. 100th year of American Legion Baseball, and it's the birthplace, of course, of American Legion Baseball right here in Milbank, South Dakota. So again, welcome to the tournament here on BigStoneRadio.com, and this afternoon later we will have our friends at KMSD Radio join in as well. We are going to get the national anthem now, and so we're just going to keep it here for the presentation of the colors, of course, and we'll just let everybody, let public address announcer Tyler Miriam take you through here, and we'll just leave it right here.
Before that, we will have our American Legion Code of Sportsmanship. Since 1926, every player that participates in an American Legion baseball game has recited the code, and to recite today's code, the National Americanism Chairman from Palmer, Massachusetts, please welcome Chairman Mark Avis.
Please repeat after me. I will keep the rules. Keep faith with my teammates. Keep my temper. Keep myself fit. Keep a stout heart in defeat. Keep my pride up in victory. Keep a sound soul, a clean mind, and a healthy body.
nice job of our national anthem there by local high school students here in Milbank, South Dakota, Belle Pauley and Rylan Wendland. So we are getting ready for baseball here. Again, a big tournament here this weekend in American Legion Baseball. The 100th year, the American Legion Baseball Centennial Classic today, tomorrow, and then we end on Sunday here at Legion Field at Farley Park here in Milbank. American Legion Baseball originated on July 17th of 1925 right here in Milbank, South Dakota, when then Big Ten Conference Commissioner John L. Griffith asked the American Legion Department of South Dakota to develop a youth program that would impart citizenship, discipline, and good sportsmanship. The American Legion Junior Baseball program, as it was known then, was approved by a national resolution in October of 1925 under the American Legion's Americanism Commission. The first American Legion World Series, by the way, was played in Philadelphia October 11th through the 13th of 1926. During the 8th American Legion National Convention, Yonkers, New York defeated Pocatello, Idaho for the title. Since its inception, the number of American Legion Baseball participants has exceeded 10 million. So there you go. Again, the American Legion Baseball Centennial Classic here, Legion Field at Farley Park. Pretty nice Friday here so far on tap. And we'll set you defensively here. First of all, for Glenwood, Lowry posts 187, 253. So defensively here for Glenwood. And I seem to have lost that paper. Anyway, we'll get to that here in just a couple minutes or so. Okay, now we got Glenwood Lowry's lineup here on defense. In left field is Miles Wildman. In center field is Luke Danielson. And over in right field is Connor Erickson. Around the infield at third base, Alex Panitsky. The shortstop, Levi Johnson. Second base is Nathan Dell. And first base is Noah Jensen. Behind the dish is Dylan Alexander. And on the mound is Mark Gruber. So Glenwood here is the home team, like we said. Lemoore, North Dakota will send up Connor Thielges, Blaze Isaacson, and Colby Thielges here to start the top of the first inning. Your home plate umpire this afternoon is Rob Hansen. First base umpire is John Whitcraft. Second base umpire Steve Creer. Third base umpire is Johnny Kirshner. And those are your umpires here for game number 1 here this afternoon. So again, glad to have everybody along on the video audio stream here on BigStoneRadio.com. Again, a pretty good crowd on hand here.
Leading off the top of the first for Lemoore, post 19, is the pitcher number 20, Connor Thielges.
Connor Thielges is leading off here for post number 19. There's a shot on the ground. That's a foul, though. Pitcher Thielges picked it up, but it was a foul. So Connor Thielges with a 1-strike count here just underway. Again, Glenwood, Lowry, Minnesota against Lemoore, North Dakota here today. Here's the pitch. That is low and outside. 1 ball and 1 strike now to Connor Thielges. Blaze Isaacson bats next for Lemoore. There's the pitch. That's on the ground too short. Picked up out there by Levi Johnson. Over to first. The out is complete. So Connor Thielges grounds out short to first. 1 up, 1 down here for Lemoore, North Dakota in the top of the first inning. Blaze Isaacson now. Number 7, the second baseman, steps into the batter's box.
Blaze Isaacson.
Blaze Isaacson for Lemoore. There's a pop-up into foul territory and over by the first base dugout. It's going to be on top of the dugout, so foul. No balls and 1 strike to Blaze Isaacson. Colby Field just waits on deck for post number 19 from Lemoore. And here's the pitch. That's high and in to Blaze Isaacson. Here's the pitch. That is a fly ball into left center field. The center fielder under there, Owen Lesky. Excuse me, the center fielder, Luke Danielson, puts it away for Glenwood Lowry. So 2 up, 2 down here for Lemoore. And that'll bring up now number 2, the shortstop, Colby Thielges. 2 out, nobody on here for Lemoore. There's a shot on the ground to short. Levi Johnson scoops it up over to first, and that is not in time. That pulls the first baseman Noah Jensen off the bag. So reaching safely is Colby Thielges. And that probably will have to be an error on that one.
The error brings up the center fielder number 8, Owen Lesko.
And that's going to bring up now the center fielder number 8, Owen Lesko for Lemoore, North Dakota. Here's the pitch. There's a shot into left field. That's short left field. That's going to find green. Miles Wildman charges in from his left field position, but Owen Lesko dumps a single to left. And Colby Thielges goes to second now for Lemoore. So Lemoore has something cooking here with 2 outs. The first 2 men went down for North Lemoore, but now Thielges reached on an error. Owen Lesko got a single, and that now will bring up number 6, the third baseman, Mason Workin. Here's the pitch. That is low, right across the plate, but low. Again, Mark Gruber on the bump this afternoon to start here for Glenwood Lowry, post 187 and 253. Here comes the Gruber offering. That is high and inside. So 1 ball and 1 strike. And here's the pitch. That is high and in. That's high inside corner, excuse me, for a strike. No, that's a ball. 2 balls and 1 strike. It looked like the umpire put the right hand up, but that was high and outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Here's the pitch. There's a pop-up on the infield. First baseman, Noah Jensen, comes over and squeezes it. So Lemoore leaves 2 on as Workin pops out to the first baseman. So for Lemoore, they come up empty. No score. Half an inning. Lemoore nothing. Glenwood Lowry coming to bat. And again, glad to have everybody along here on the video and audio stream from BigStoneRadio.com. And let's set Lemoore, North Dakota here for you defensively. Jake Kramer is in left. Owen Lesky is in center. Russell Exner is over in right. On third base is Mason Workin. The shortstop is Colby Thielges. At second base is Blaze Isaacson. Over at first is Jaron Reagan. On the bump today is Connor Thielges. And the catcher is Logan Potts. So again, Glenwood Lowry's batting order here. Miles Wildman leads off. Mark Gruber bats number 2. Dylan Alexander bats number 3. Noah Jensen bats cleanup. Batting 5 is Connor Erickson. Batting number 6, Alex Panitsky. Batting number 7, Levi Johnson. Batting number 8, Luke Danielson. And batting number 9 is Nathan Dell. Again, Glenwood Lowry, coached by Paul Johnson and Jeff Panitsky. Lemoore, North Dakota, coached by Jason Thielges and Gage Dunn. So the game after this one at about 2:30 will be Milbank, the host here, post 9 against Broken Bow, Nebraska. And And so now Glenwood is getting ready to come into the batter's box again. Leading off, Miles Wildman, number 1, the left fielder. Again, glad to have everybody along here on the video and audio stream. Here's the pitch. That is right across the plate, but low to Wildman. Again, Connor Thielgis on the bump. Here's the right-hander's pitch. That's a swing and a foul behind home plate, locating it and then staggering under it and not making the catch is Logan Potts. That kind of got caught up in the jet stream that time right behind home plate, and Potts circled around it but just did not come up with it in the glove. So new life for Miles Wildman here. He has a 1-ball and 1-strike count now for Glenwood Lowry. And the Thielgis pitch, here it is. That's across the plate with the fastball, but high. 2 balls and 1 strike now to Miles Wildman. Again, Mark Gruber waits on deck. Here's the pitch. That's fisted in the other way to the right field. And that's going to carry out there over the head of Russell Exner out there in right field. And that's going to go for a triple. Wildman slides in safely with a triple. When that left the bat of Wildman that time, that didn't look like it was necessarily that far out there, but the ball just got caught up in the jet stream and kept carrying and carrying and carrying to right field. And coming in initially was the right fielder Russell Exner, and then he decided that it was way over his head that time. Here's the pitch. There's a fly ball on the infield by Gruber. Catch is made out there by second baseman Blaze Isaacson. So Gruber pops out to second base. 1 out. Wildman still at third for Glenwood Lowry. No score. Bottom of the first. Lemoore, North Dakota against Glenwood Lowry of Minnesota. Again, we've got Broken Bow, Nebraska, and of course Milbank, South Dakota. So 4 states represented here. Here's the pitch. There's a shot the opposite way. An opposite field RBI single for Dylan Alexander. Coming in to score is Miles Wildman. So it is 1-0 now. Glenwood Lowry is leading Lemoore here. Bottom of the first inning. Courtesy runner for Glenwood Lowry. That is going to be Braylon Sharman.
Number 7, Braylon Sharman.
As we often see at this level, of course, the catcher now will go back and get his catching gear on, and so the pinch runner is Braylon Sharman. And that'll bring up Noah Jensen now, number 21, the first baseman. He takes a strike. Glenwood Lowry cracks the proverbial goose egg first here. They're up 1-0 over Lemoore. And here is the pitch. There's a mighty swing and a foul tip about 6 inches off to the left of home plate that time. So no balls and 2 strikes now. Connor Thielgis jumps way ahead of Noah Jensen. Asking for and getting time from the home plate umpire is Noah Jensen. So 1 out, 1-0 Glenwood Lowry. Here's the pitch. There's a shot the other way to the right. Out of play, foul.
As a reminder that all foul balls to be returned to the concession stand for a 25-cent reward courtesy of Milbank Ford.
So foul balls this tournament are worth a quarter, courtesy of Milbank Ford. And there's the pitch that's high and inside to Noah Jensen. And taking the look is Connor Thielgis. Here comes Connor's pitch. There goes the runner to second. Nice jump. Throw is there, though, but it gets out of the glove of the second baseman. So Dylan Alexander steals second base, so that's where he is now.
Working in college athletics, I know the schedules are light and logistics. I don't work out that, obviously. So I'm like, I know guys to go there. And
Dylan Alexander now. Here's the pitch. There is a fly ball into into foul territory. Catcher Logan Potts, pitcher Connor Thielges, first baseman Jaron Reagan all charge after it, but it's out of play. So count rides along now, 2 balls and 2 strikes to Noah Jensen. Connor Erickson bats next for Glenwood. Glenwood Lowry. There's the pitch that is low and outside. So the count is full now, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Noah Jensen. Again, welcome to our video and audio stream here on BigStoneRadio.com. Here's the pitch. There's a mighty shot into left field. That is back, and that is gone. A tape measure 2-run home run to left field. And that scores Dylan Alexander, and Noah Jensen, who clobbered that ball, follows in next. 3-0 Glenwood Lowry. As I mean, Noah Jensen got every piece of that baseball and gave it a good ride to left field.
2-run homer for Noah Jensen.
And that's going to bring up Connor Erickson now, so it's 3-0. Glenwood Lowry here in the bottom of the first inning. Right fielder number 9, Connor Erickson now. That is a single to right, an opposite field single for Connor Erickson.
Number 10, Alex Panitsky.
And that'll bring up Alex Panitsky now. The third baseman, number 10. Here's the pitch. That's a shot into left field for a single. So Erickson goes to right, Panitsky goes to left for the single, and Erickson ends up at second, Panitsky at first. And the hitting parade continues here in the bottom of the first inning for Glenwood Lowry, who is already up 3-0. And there's still only 1 out. Connor Erickson at second, Alex Panitsky at first. Levi Johnson now in the batter's box for Glenwood Lowry, the shortstop. And there is a foul to the screen here. 3:04 down the right field line here at Legion Field at Farley Park. 372 to dead center, 372 to left center, and 3:07 down the left field line. And there is a pitch that misses. So 1 ball and 1 strike now the count to Levi Johnson. Luke Danielson waits on deck here for Glenwood Lowry. Here's the pitch. That's fouled back to the screen. 3-0 Glenwood Lowry here. If you're just tuning in, again, welcome to the video audio stream here. Here's the pitch. That is low. You're in tune to the American Legion Baseball Centennial Classic. Legion Field at Farley Park here in Milbank, South Dakota. The home, the birthplace of American Legion Baseball here is Milbank, South Dakota. And the 1-2 pitch now, that's hit the other way as well, but foul. In the early going here, it looks like Glenwood Lowry likes to hit the baseballs the opposite way. A lot of the right-handed batters have been going to right field to get their base hits, except for the 2-run homer by Noah Jensen that traveled way over the left field fence. There's a pop foul into foul territory down the right field line. First baseman Jaron Reagan gives it a look, but does not get over to it in time. Again, a miniature green monster here in left field at Legion Field at Farley Park. And Noah Jensen hit one way over that left field area. Here's the pitch now. There's a inside pitch, but he offers at it. That just about hit Levi Johnson, but getting strikeout number 1 for himself is Connor Thielges.
The center fielder, number 4, Luke Daniels.
And that'll bring up the center fielder, number 4, Luke Danielson. Here's the pitch. That is a strike. No balls and 1 strike now to Luke Danielson. They've batted 8 men so far here in the first half inning. Glenwood Lowry. Here's the pitch. There's a fly ball the opposite way, out of play to the right. So quickly ahead now is Connor Thielgis. No balls and 2 strikes to Luke Danielson. And here's the pitch. That is low and outside. That gets away temporarily from the catcher. Nice peg down to third. That's not held cleanly, though. So stealing third is Connor Erickson. Meanwhile, staying at first is Alex Panitsky. So now runners on first and third with 2 outs for Glenwood Lowry.
Yeah, to get all these guys hurt. Yeah, doesn't help us. I mean, other than that.
And Glenwood Lowry has already scored 3 runs here in the bottom of the first inning to take a 3-0 lead. And here's the pitch. That is low and outside to Luke Danielson. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Luke. Runners on first and third for Glenwood Lowry. Here's the pitch. There's a hit into left field. That's going to travel pretty far too, over the left fielder's head. That's not over the fence, but 1 run is going to score. 2 runs are going to score. A 2-run double to left by Luke Danielson.
2-run double for Luke Danielson.
Connor Erickson scores. Alex Panitsky right behind him, just like that. It's 5-0 now. Glenwood Lowry hung a crooked number here in the bottom of the first, and Glenwood Lowry has batted around now with Nathan Dell, number 15, the second baseman. Here's the pitch. That is low and out, on the outside corner for a strike. No balls and 1 strike. And here's the pitch. There's a swing and a foul going to third in kind of a delayed fashion, and making it is Luke Danielson. Luke didn't know if he wanted to take off right away, but the ball got a little away from the catcher, Logan Potts, that time, and so Danielson said, okay, I'll take third, so he does. He's there with 2 outs and a 1-2 count now. Here's the pitch. That's high across the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Nathan Dell. Again, don't forget Milbank Post 9 and Broken Bow, Nebraska next. And that just about hit Nathan Dell. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Dell. Here's the pitch, a swing and a miss. So Lamore is out of the half inning, but damage done. Glenwood Lowry scores 5 runs. It is 5-0 Glenwood Lowry over Lamore. We'll be back with Lamore's at bat in the top of the second in about a minute. Logan Potts singles to left field for Lemoore, leading off here in the top of the second inning. So Logan Potts gets a nice piece of that one and hits it into left field for a single. Again, 5-0. Glenwood Lowry on top of Lemoore here. Here's the pitch. There's a swing and a foul that time by number 36, Jaron Reagan, the first baseman. 5-0. Glenwood Lowry is on top of the second inning. Here's the pitch. That's out to the pitcher. Goes to second for one, over to first. Relay not in time. So lead runner Logan Potts is forced out at second. And Jaron Reagan becomes the runner at first on the fielder's choice. And that'll bring up number 24, the left fielder, Jake Kramer.
Left fielder, Jake Kramer.
Again, if you're wondering, Lemoore, North Dakota, about 760 people live up there. It's the county seat of Lemoore County, North Dakota. About 151 miles from Milbank is how far they had to travel to this tournament. There's a shot on the ground to first, pitcher covering his position, and that is pitcher to first. As that is a 1-3 putout. Nice job of covering his territory like he should by Mark Gruber, the pitcher, and first baseman Noah Jensen fielded as his momentum was taking him towards second. And going into second was Jaron Reagan. Joey Potts now, the designated hitter in the batter's box. He's going to take a strike at the knees. No balls and one strike. Here's the pitch. That's high and inside. 5-0 Glenwood Lowry. If you're just tuning in here, Lemoore, North Dakota is the opponent here. Here's the pitch. There's a shot the opposite way, but down the line foul. Joey Potts got a pretty good piece of that one, but got around just a little bit too late on it and shot it the opposite way foul. Here's the pitch. That is high and inside, and that is a strike. As offering at it anyway, but missing it was Joey Potts. So, strikeout number 1 this afternoon for Mark Gruber, and we have completed 1 inning and a half here. It is Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota 5, and Lemoore, North Dakota 1. We'll be back with more. Bottom of the second for Glenwood Lowry coming up.
Fans, don't forget the doors open.
And coming up for Glenwood Lowry here in the bottom of the second inning is Miles Wildman, the top of the order again, as Glenwood Lowry batted around in the bottom of the first inning, scoring 5 runs here.
Bottom of the second for Glenwood Lowry, the leadoff hitter number 1, left fielder Miles Wildman. And
you're in tune to the American Legion Centennial Baseball Classic here from beautiful Legion Field at Farley Park in Milbank. Again, glad to have everybody along here. Here's the pitch. That is inside on the inside corner. 1 ball or no balls and 2 strikes now to Wildman. And here comes the pitch. That is inside to Wildman. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. This is the last half inning. Wildman led off with a triple, and he scored on Alexander's single. There's a shot to the shortstop in the air, and gloving it out there is Colby Thielges at his shortstop position. So Wildman pops out to short. One out here in the bottom of the second inning.
The pitcher number 2, Mark Gruber.
Mark Gruber, the pitcher number 2, who popped out to second base. So he's 0 for 1 here in the stat line so far. Here's the pitch. That is outside on the outside corner. No balls and 1 strike. I believe that was the call. Here's the pitch. There's a shot on the ground to second base. Up with it is Blaze Isaacson over to first. Out is complete. So 2 up, 2 down here in the bottom of the second inning, and that'll bring up third place hitter Dylan Alexander for Glenwood Lowry.
The catcher number 12, Dylan Alexander.
And here's the pitch now. There's a fly ball into right field. Short right field. That keeps carrying, though, and the right fielder, Russell Exner, puts it away. So 3 up, 3 down for Glenwood Lowry here in the bottom of the second inning. 2 complete. Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota 5. Lemoore, North Dakota nothing. You're in tune to the American Legion Baseball Centennial Classic from Legion Field here at Farley Park in the birthplace of American Legion Baseball, Milbank, South Dakota. Back with the top of the third coming up in just a short time. And welcome back to Milbank, South Dakota, the birthplace of American Legion Baseball for the American Legion Baseball Centennial Classic. Legion Field at Farley Park here in Milbank. And locally tonight, there's the American Legion Baseball Centennial Classic Tournament Banquet. That's here tonight at Milbank, Friday, July 11th. Social at 6 o'clock, dinner at 6:30. Milbank High School is where that is going to be. And Joel Erdman, former Milbank resident, director of athletics, University of South Alabama, is going to be the speaker tonight for that banquet, and that's locally, of course, here in Milbank. Lemoore, North Dakota, here in the top of the third inning is Connor Thielges is in the batter's box now. Connor grounded out to short. His only other time up. He's 0 for 1 here this afternoon. Here's the pitch. That's a curveball that time by Mark Gruber. And that is going to miss. Here's the pitch. There's a fly ball to third base. Alex Panitsky circles underneath it. Alex Panitsky puts it away. So Connor Thielges pops out to third baseman Alex Panitsky. And that'll bring up Blaze Isaacson now, the second baseman. Blaze back in the first inning, flew out to center field. Here's the pitch. That is low and inside on the fastball that time from Gruber. Here's the pitch. That's low and outside from Gruber. So 2 balls and no strikes now. Here's the 2-0. That is inside. 3 balls and no strikes to Blaze Isaacson. Here's the pitch. That is a strike at the knees on the inside corner. Isaacson was appearing to take it all the way that time. 3 balls and 1 strike now to Isaacson. Here's the pitch. That's on the ground. Shortstop Levi Johnson in a couple hops throws it over to first, and that's an errant throw. So reaching safely on the errant throw is Blaze Isaacson. And for all intents and purposes, Levi Johnson made a nice fielding play that time. Just threw the ball a little bit to the right field side of first base that time, and first baseman Noah Jensen could not come up with it. And so Colby Thielgis now will be the batter. He reached on an error back in the first. Was stranded at second eventually. Again, 5-0 Glenwood Lowry over Lemoore, North Dakota. Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota posts 187 and 253. Lemoore, North Dakota, post number 19. Here's the pitch. That is high and inside to Colby Thielgis. Getting a pretty good lead over at first is Isaacson. There's a pitch that is going to be hit into left field for a single. Miles Wildman picks it up out there. And so Thielgis gets a single. Isaacson goes to second, so now Lemoore has got a little threat going here. Runners on first and second.
Number 8, Owen Lesko.
With 1 out, Owen Lesko, number 8, the center fielder who singled. He's 1 for 1 here this afternoon. And here's the pitch. That is right across the knees for a strike. Owen Lesko takes a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike. Here's the pitch. That's grounded foul down the third base line. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Talking a little bit to Lemoore coach Jason Thiel just before the game. He said they're struggling to hit the ball lately. Pitching and defense keeps them in games usually. And there's the pitch now that misses to Owen Lesko. So 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Lesko. Here's the pitch. That's a fly ball into right field and drifting over into foul territory, and coming up with the catch is Connor Erickson. So Owen Lesko flies out to right fielder Connor Erickson, and there are 2 down here in the top of the 3rd inning. As it is 5-0 Glenwood Lowry, post 187 and 253. That'll bring up Mason Workin. He shoots one down the left field line, foul. There's the pitch. That is going to hit Warkin, excuse me. So now Isaacson goes to third, Thielgis to second, and all of a sudden Lemoore has the bases loaded here.
Number 1, catcher Logan Potts.
And there are 2 outs, but that's an ideal opportunity now for catcher number 1, Logan Potts, who has a single already here this afternoon. Or actually, he singled. So he's 1 for 1. Here's the pitch. There's a swing and a foul at the plate by Potts. No balls and 1 strike now to Logan Potts. If he keeps the half inning alive, Jaron Reagan comes to the dish. Bases full of Lemoore, North Dakota runners here with 2 outs. Here's the pitch. That's high on the fastball from Mark Gruber. Logan Potts. 2 balls and 2 strikes now the count to Logan. 2 outs, bases loaded. Here's the pitch. That's low and outside, right across the plate, but a little bit low and outside that time. And so a full count. The carousel will start, and here they go. And there's a shot on the ground. Pitching, getting back to the pitcher, Gruber, and he takes it himself for the putout. So pitcher unassisted as Logan Potts is retired, and they leave the bases loaded started in the top of the third inning. 2.5 here in the Centennial American Legion Baseball Classic from Legion Field at Farley Park. Again, 2.5 innings complete. Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota 5, Lemoore, North Dakota 0. We'll be back with more baseball right after this. And we want to talk a little bit about a century of citizenship through sportsmanship. That is a commemorative American Legion Baseball bookazine, as they call it, available for sale here at the ballpark in Milbank this whole weekend. A lot of great history in it. The birthplace of American Legion Baseball, of course, is right here in Milbank. And it tells you some of the professional ball players, of course, that used to be Legion ball players: Bob Feller, Ted Williams, Stan Musial, Yogi Berra, Warren Spahn, Bob Lemon, Pee Wee Reese, Bobby Doerr, to name a few. Very interesting book. And that will start the bottom of the third inning now for Glenwood Lowry, and getting hit by a pitch is Noah Jensen. Noah hit that 2-run homer that was a no-doubter in the top of the first inning that scored himself and Dylan Alexander at that time. And that brings up now number 9, the right fielder Connor Erickson. He has a single and he scored a run as well back in the first. It's 5-0 Glenwood Lowry. Again, Milbank and Broken Bow, Nebraska will follow this game at about 2:30 here this afternoon. And those are the only 2 games on tap for today. 3 games tomorrow and the championship on Sunday. That sails low and outside to Connor Erickson. So 2 balls and 1 strike now. Here's the pitch. That is low to Erickson. Noah Jensen on first with nobody out. And here comes the pitch. There's a swing and a miss. A mighty rip that time Connor Erickson took. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Connor Erickson. Alex Panitsky waits on deck. Here's the pitch. There's a shot on the ground to second base. They go to the lead runner at first, or second. So lead runner Noah Jensen is out at second base on the force out. Connor Erickson becomes the runner on the fielder's choice. And so that'll bring up Alex Panitsky now. Third baseman, number 10. Alex back in the first inning, singled and scored. Takes a strike. No balls and 1 strike now to Alex Panitsky. Erickson, Connor Erickson on first. Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota is leading here 5-0 in the bottom of the third. Here's the pitch. That is low and outside. Evening up matters now with 1 ball and 1 strike to Panitsky. And here comes the pitch. That's a nice curveball by that time, but just misses. Nice pitch that time by Gruber, but just could not quite get it across the plate. 2 balls and 1 strike now to Panitsky. Here's the pitch. That is low. That gets away a little bit from the catcher, and it's far enough for advancement to second by Connor Erickson. Got away just a little bit too far that time from catcher Dylan Alexander, and Erickson gained second. And here's the pitch now. That is a strike. Going to first base was Panitsky, and he going to be back in the batter's box now with a full count. 3 balls and 2 strikes, full count, payoff pitch now with Erickson on second. Here's the pitch. That's high, so now he's going to walk. And Erickson, of course, stays at second. There is 1 out here for Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota here in the bottom of the bottom of the 3rd inning. Here's the pitch. That is right at the knees for a strike. Levi Johnson struck out. He's 0 for 1 in the stat line here this afternoon. Here's the pitch. That is a foul back to the screen behind home plate. Back to the netting, I should say. There's not really a screen here. There's netting. So no balls and 2 strikes to Levi Johnson, the shortstop. Here comes the pitch. That is laced into left field, and that is a fair ball, just fair down the line. 1 run is going to score, and they're going to hold up Panitsky at third. Erickson comes in to score on the RBI double by Levi Johnson. And we change the scoreboard now 6-0 Glenwood Lowry here with number 4, Luke Danielson, coming to the dish with runners on second and third. Johnson, just put that inside the left field line. I don't know how far that was fair, but I bet it wasn't a few inches, if even that. And he drove in a run. Danielson has a 2-run double back in the first inning, so he's 1 for 1 with 2 RBIs. There's the pitch. That is low and outside. Again, 6-0 Glenwood Lowry. Here's a shot into pretty deep right field, and circling it under it out there and catching it. And that's an RBI single. Russell Exner puts it away, but that is an RBI sacrifice fly for Luke Danielson. And that's going to score Alex Panitsky. So now it is 7-0. They have scored the touchdown and kicked the extra point here. 7-0. There's a dribbler that is foul by Nathan Dell. Nathan struck out back in the first. 5 in the first for Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota. 2 here in the third. 7-0. Glenwood Lowry is leading here over Lemoore, North Dakota. And here's the pitch. There's a shot to the opposite way to right field. Foul. Here's the pitch. That is low and outside. To Nathan Dell. So 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Dell. Here's the pitch. That is low and outside. And the pitch upcoming to Dell, and that is high and inside on the fastball. So it's 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Nathan Dell. If he keeps the half inning alive, Miles Wildman in the top of the order comes up next, and there's a swing and a foul, and actually that is a strikeout. So Nathan Dell has struck out for the 2nd time here this afternoon. 3rd strikeout for Lemoore pitcher Connor Thielges, but adding 2 runs in the bottom of the 3rd, Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota. So they lead now 7-0 over Lemoore. We'll be back with more baseball from the Centennial Classic American Legion Baseball Tournament, Legion Field at Farley Park here in Milbank. We'll be back with more soon. Jaron Reagan leading off. Top of the fourth inning here for post number 19, Lemoore, North Dakota. Reagan back in the second, who reached on a fielder's choice and eventually was stranded at second. 7-0. Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota is leading here. Here's the pitch. That is a swing and a miss by Reagan. There's a shot to dribbler down the first base line, fielded in foul territory by Noah Jensen. But that's just a strike, so jogging back to the batter's box now is Jaron Reagan. So Jaron Reagan now, here's the pitch to him. There's a curveball, and that was a beauty, a swing and a miss. Strikeout number 2 this afternoon. For starting pitcher Mark Gruber for Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota. That will bring up now Jake Kramer.
24, left fielder Jake Kramer.
The left fielder who's grounded out, pitcher to first. Here's the pitch, that is outside. 2 balls and no strikes now to Jake Kramer. Swing and a miss. Foul tip, actually. 2 balls and 1 strike now to Jake Kramer. Joey Potts will bat next. Here's the pitch. It's high and inside. Actually, that hits Kramer. So Kramer goes to first base, hit by the pitch. And that will bring up designated hitter number 10, Joey Potts. For Lemoore, North Dakota, post number 19.
Designated hitter number 10, Joey Potts.
Potts struck out back in the second, 0 for 1 on the stat line here so far. Again, if you're just tuning in, 7-0. There's a shot into left center field. That's going to hit the green. That is a single. Not picking it up cleanly out there is Luke Danielson, but staying at first with a single is Joey Potts. And that will push Kramer over to second base now.
Base hit brings up the Lemoore leadoff batter.
And that'll bring up Connor Thielges. Connor is grounded out to short, popped out to third. He takes a pitch low. 1 ball and no strikes now to Connor Thielges. There's a strike. There's 3 Thielgeses on the team: Connor, Colby, and Easton for Lemoore, North Dakota. Here's the pitch. That is low and outside. So 2 balls and 1 strike now to Thielges. Connor Thielges takes it low.
For sure, we upped it today.
And here's the pitch. That is on the inside corner for a strike. So the count is full now. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Runners on first and second with only 1 out here. And there's a foul. So count rides along now at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Blaze Isaacson would bat next. Or will bat next, barring a double play. So full count now. Here comes the payoff pitch. That's shot into left field, but foul. Jake Kramer at second, Joey Potts at first. Connor Thielges in the batter's box. He shoots one down the third base line, just foul again. So count rides along here, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Connor Thielges certainly making Mark Gruber work here at this at-bat. And Gruber comes to the set now. Here's the pitch. That is a pop-up. Let's see if there's room. And what a catch by the catcher, Dylan Alexander, falling into the screen in foul territory. Oh, what an effort that time, and good, great play by the catcher, Dylan Alexander. as Connor Thiel just pops out to second, or to the catcher in foul territory.
Number 7, Blaze Isaacson.
And that'll bring up now number 7, Blaze Isaacson, who has reached on an error and flied out to center. And here's the pitch. That is right across the plate for a strike. So Kramer at second, Potts at first, but now there are 2 outs. And Blaze Isaacson looking for his first hit here this afternoon. Here's the pitch. That's on the ground to third. Takes kind of a tricky hop out there. Panitsky is going to go the easy way and step on third to force out Jake Kramer at third base, bringing a close to the half inning. And that will be 3.5 complete now at the American Legion Baseball Centennial Classic, Legion Field at Farley Park here in Milbank. And we'll be back with more right shortly. Stay tuned. And welcome back to Legion Field here at Farley Park. Again, thanks for joining our video and audio stream here of this game. Milbank and Broken Bow, Nebraska will play next, and we'll have that on local radio as well as video and audio stream here, KMSD, and our video and audio stream like you're watching and listening to right now. Here is the bottom of the 4th inning, and Glenwood Lowry is leading off Miles Wildman. He's popped out to short and tripled and scored a run. And here's the pitch to Wildman. That's a ball.
And then Greg Warren, technically from Herrick, but out near Rapid.
So 3-0 now the count to Wildman. Here comes the pitch. That misses. So Wildman, a 4-pitch walk here in the bottom of the 4th.
The pitcher, number 2, Mark Gruber.
That'll bring up the pitcher now, number 2, Mark Gruber. Gruber squares to bunt, and it's a ball. 1 ball and no strikes now to Gruber, who has popped out to second and grounded out second to first. Here's the pitch. That is a strike. Throw down to second is not in time. Miles Wildman in with the stolen base.
I really didn't start till 28, I told him.
So Mark Gruber looking for his first hit here this afternoon.
Her mom, his mom is the executive secretary.
And here's the pitch. That is low and outside. So 2 balls and 1 strike now the count to Mark Gruber. Dylan Alexander waits on deck. Bottom of the 4th inning is where we are. It is 7-0. Glenwood Lowry posts 187 and 253 over Lemoore, North Dakota, post 19. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Gruber. Here's the pitch. That's high and outside. So it's 1-2. Here's the pitch. That is on the outside corner and rung up on strikes is Mark Gruber. Strikeout number 4 for Connor Thielges.
Catcher, Dylan Alexander.
Here on the afternoon. And that will bring up Dylan Alexander, who has has an RBI single here this afternoon and has scored a run and flied out to right. Again, bottom of the fourth is where we are. Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota, 7-0. There's a shot on the ground to short. Up with it is Colby Theelgis, and he completes the throw over to first. So Dylan Alexander grounds out short to first. In the meantime, going over to third is Miles Wildman.
The first baseman, number 21, Noah Jensen.
And that'll bring up Noah Jensen, who back in the first clubbed, and I mean clubbed, a 2-run homer to left field. And then he reached on he was hit by a pitch and he was forced out at second base in the third. There's the pitch, there's a foul back out of play. Noah Jensen got a pretty good piece of that one way back in the first half inning. And that flew out of this ballpark pretty quickly. Here's the pitch. That is outside. 2-1. The count to Noah Jensen. Here comes the pitch. Levels that one and fouls that one out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Noah Jensen. Connor Erickson would bat next if the half inning stays alive. Again at 2:30 this afternoon, Milbank and Broken Bow, Nebraska will do battle here. Here's the pitch. There's a pretty deep shot into that alleyway in right center field. And that one is going to hit over, and that is another home run for Noah Jensen. Oh my, can that kid hit? Oh, that went, it's kind of a little jagged edge out there. Let's see, that way out there is 390, and I want to say he probably hit that just about 400 feet that time. Anyway, a home run by Noah Jensen. It is now 8. It is now 8-0. So 8-0, Noah Jensen gets a home run, his second of the afternoon here. I would say he likes hitting here at the new Legion Field in Milbank, Lake Farley Park. There's going to be a meeting at the mound now, and I don't know if that's just a meeting or if they're going to do a pitching change, but again, we want to welcome everybody aboard here to the American Legion Baseball Centennial Classic Legion Field here at Farley Park. Today, tomorrow, and Sunday. It culminates with the championship game on Sunday. And again, of course, Milbank, 100 years ago, the birthplace of American Legion Baseball. And that road, I'm pretty sure that road over the 390 sign there, and it kind of hit the top of the fence is actually what it did. And it flew out of Farley Park off the bat of Noah Jensen. So again, it's 8-0 now, and the meeting on the mound is over. Or actually, I'm sorry, it's 9-0. That's my bad. Wildman scored 2.
The right fielder, number 9, Connor Erickson.
So it is now 9-0. Sorry about that, Noah. He's got 4 RBIs here this afternoon, 2 2-run homers. So it is 9-0, and there's a grounder to short. Up with it is Colby Theelgis, and he completes the out, but another 2-run homer by Noah Jensen. Glenwood Lowry adds 2 more, so now after 4 complete, it is 9-0. Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota over Lemoore, North Dakota. We'll be back with more after this. welcome back to our live video audio stream here on BigStoneRadio.com, as well as YouTube too, I believe, here this afternoon and throughout the whole tournament. I'm Chad Knowles. I'm taking you through the whole tournament, so glad to be along. And I need to do one thing that I forgot to do. I need to update my scoreboard on the video stream. There we go. It's 9-0 now. Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota is leading. And here is the batter, number 2, Colby Fieldgess, and he flies out to center field. Luke Danielson puts that one away. So Fieldgess flies out to center field, and that will bring up the center fielder for Lemoore, North Dakota, number 8, Owen Lesko. Owen has flied out to right, and he has singled here this afternoon. 1 for 2. And here comes the pitch. That is into left field. That is going to be a single at least, and that might run further. That's going to run all the way to the base of the fence. Lesko at second. He wants 3, but he's going to slam on the brakes. Owen Lesko gets a 1-out double here for Lemoore, North Dakota. And that'll bring up now Mason Workin. Number 6.
The third baseman, number 6, Mason Workin.
And he's the third baseman, so it is Lemoore, North Dakota now trying to get something going here offensively. They are down 9-0. Two-run homers by first baseman Noah Jensen, the highlight here so far for Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota. And here's the pitch. That's a strike at the knees of Mason Workin. So 1 ball and 1 strike now to Mason. Logan Potts will bat next. And there is a ball. Actually, I think the count is 1-2 now. Here's the pitch. That's hit on the line, down the left field line. Foul. Count rides along. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Again, welcome to Milbank. Everybody, glad to have you here. Here's the pitch. There's a swing and a foul back to the screen. So count rides along at 1 ball and 2 strikes. 9-0, Glenwood Lowry. Minnesota is leading here. Here's the pitch. There's a hit into center field. Right center field, actually, and that is going to go into the glove of Connor Erickson out there in right field. So Mason Workin flies out to the right field, and that will bring up Logan Potts, the pitcher.
Catcher number 1.
Catcher. He wears number 1. Logan Potts singled, and he has grounded out. Pitcher unassisted as Gruber scooped it up and ran and touched first by himself. Here's the pitch. That's right across the plate for a strike. Gruber still wheeling pretty good out there on the mound for Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota. Here's the pitch. That is, again, a strike at the knees. So Mark Gruber quickly ahead now. No balls and 2 strikes. 9-0, Glenwood Lowry. There's a shot right up the center of the field. And the shortstop is going to throw, and that's going to be too late. And Owen Lesko is going to score, so an RBI single for Logan Potts. So now it is 9-1. Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota is leading.
Courtesy running at first base, number 18, Jacoby Lewis.
Jacoby Lewis running, courtesy running at first base for Lemoore. Here's the pitch now. There's a swing and a miss by Jaron Reagan. Jaron has struck out, and he has reached on a fielder's choice. Here's the pitch. That's fouled back to the screen.
I don't want to go much higher than that.
So they're going to do
Here's the pitch. That's grounded right back to pitcher Gruber over to first, and the out is complete. So Reagan goes out, pitcher to first. But Lemoore does score 1 run, and 4.5 complete now. It is 7-1 or 9-1. Glenwood Lowry is leading Lemoore. We'll be back with more baseball. The bottom of the 5th coming up shortly. Stay tuned. And welcome back to the live video audio stream here from the American Legion Baseball Centennial Classic, Legion Field at Farley Park, here in the birthplace of American Legion Baseball, Milbank, South Dakota. Again, American Legion Baseball originated on July 17th of 1925 right here in Milbank, South Dakota, when then Big Ten Commissioner John L. Griffith asked the American Legion Department of South Dakota to develop a youth program that would impart citizenship, discipline, and good sportsmanship. The American Legion Junior Baseball Program, as it was known then, was approved by a national resolution on October 1925 under the American Legion's Americanism. And there's a hit that goes way back to center field, and that's in the ballpark. But wanting a triple and going to get a triple, I believe, is Alex Panitsky. And Alex goes into third. So Alex Panitsky gets a triple. Alex has a single here this afternoon, and he was walked, and then now he's tripled. So he scored a couple runs. So it is 9-1 here in favor of Glenwood Lowry. There's a shot into center field for a single by Levi Johnson, RBI single. And that scores Panitsky, so now it is 10-1. And that will bring up Luke Danielson now, a 2-run double back in the first and a sacrifice fly RBI. So Luke Danielson with 3 runs and 3 runs batted in. And it looks like there's going to be a pitching change, and we will catch up to it. We're going to take a break here. I'm going to just turn off my mic here for a while, and we'll try to catch up with the changes. We'll be back in just a while here on the video stream, the live video stream of the American Legion Baseball Centennial Classic, Legion Field at Farley Park here in Milbank. We'll be back with more coming up. And Luke Danielson is in the batter's box now, and on the mound for Lemoore, post 19, is Jaden Paul. And there's a throw over to first. Levi Johnson gets back.
Left field, Jake Kramer, and right for Lemoore.
And here's the pitch. That is a ball.
But that's what we're assuming, right? Is now the right fielder. DH is out. Yeah, so Exner is out, and the DH is out. So all of that.
So it is 10-1, Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota over Lemoore, North Dakota here. Game number 1 of the American Legion Baseball Centennial Classic, Legion Field at the birthplace of American Legion Baseball here in Milbank, South Dakota.
So he would come into the lineup.
And Danielson takes a strike.
But he didn't DH. That's the thing, right?
So 2 balls and 1 strike. Now here's the pitch. That is a good one. That is a strike on the outside corner.
Based on
Levi Johnson at first. Here's the pitch. That is a swing and a foul tip, but it was a miss. Actually held on to by catcher Logan Potts. So strikeout number 1.
Pitch hitting for Glenwood Lowry, number 3, Riley Dell.
Riley Dell is pinch hitting here for Glenwood Lowry. Here's the pitch. That is on the outside corner to knees for a strike. So no balls and 1 strike now. There's a throw over to first. Getting back in safely, standing up, is Levi Johnson.
the right fielder came out.
Here's the pitch. That is into short center field, and that is going to be a nice running catch out there by Owen Lesky. Actually, it dropped for a single. Okay, so Riley Dell gets a single. So he's at first. Levi Johnson is at second.
Miles Wildman.
That'll bring up Miles Wildman now.
What's his face? Harrison guy.
Here's the pitch to Wildman. That is low and outside. Wildman has walked, he has tripled, he has popped out to short, and he has scored a couple runs. Here's the pitch. That is low and outside.
Go freaking go deal with Division I softball. Yeah. Because just so you get the flex.
Here's the pitch. That is a strike. So 2 balls and 1 strike now to Miles Wildman.
The World Series had a gal pitcher flex, and they were able to sub her out 2 different times.
Here's the pitch. That is a curveball, but it hangs inside. 3 balls and 1 strike now to Miles Wildman. 10-1. It is Glenwood Lowry leading here over Lemoore, North Dakota. There's a shot on the ground to short. Colby Thielges over to first. And they just get to the runner, Miles Wildman, at first. And Johnson goes to third. Riley Dell, goes to second. And that now will bring up pitcher Mark Gruber. Here's the pitch. That is a curveball again, but it hangs high this time. Here's the pitch. That is a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. There's the pitch. That's on the ground to second base. Blaze Isaacson up with it over to first. So Mark Gruber is out, second to first. But Glenwood Lowry adds a run. 5 complete. It's 10-1 Glenwood Lowry over Lemoore, North Dakota. Back with more right after this. And Lamore is up, and they're going to get a hit.
This is still 10 pots to each, so.
As, let's see, who was that here? That was Jake Kramer. He gets a single for Lamore.
The designated hitter number 10, Joey Potts.
Here in the top of the 6th inning is where we are now. That's low and outside. So, 1 ball and no strikes. Here's the pitch. That is lower. That's a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Top of the 6th inning is where we are here. It is 10-1. Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota over Lamore, North Dakota. Again, welcome to our video and audio stream here on BigStoneRadio.com. Throw back to first. Dive back in safely head first is Jake Kramer. Joey Potts takes a walk. Kramer goes into second base, and that'll bring up Connor Thielges.
The left fielder number 20, Connor Thielges.
Connor Thielges has grounded out to short, popped out to third, popped out to the catcher. Here's the pitch. That's low and outside. There's a shot on the ground to third, and that's going to get past the third baseman. And so Connor Thielges is on first. And that'll load up the bases now.
Number 7, second baseman, Blaze Isaacson.
That'll bring up the second baseman, Blaze Isaacson, for Lamore. There's a pop-up on the infield, and the catcher, or the pitcher, excuse me, Gruber is going to glove it. So Isaacson pops out to the pitcher.
The shortstop, number 2, Colby Thielges.
I'll bring up Colby Thielges now. Here in the top of the 6th inning. Here's the pitch. That is a strike. And here's the pitch. That is high and outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Here's the pitch. That is off the pitcher's glove, and that is going to make it an RBI single for Colby Thielges. As Jake Kramer scores, and that'll go Potts to third, Connor Thielges to second, and that'll be Owen Lesko now. So now it is 10-2, Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota. Here in the top of the 6th inning, here's the pitch to Lesko. That misses. Lesko has doubled and scored a run. He's singled, and he flied out to right field. There's a shot to the third baseman, and they are going to double off the runner at third. So that closes the half inning as Lesko lines out to third, and then doubled off of third is Joey Potts. But Lamore does get 1 in the top of the 6th, so 5.5 complete. It's Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota 10, and Lamore, North Dakota 2. And we'll be back with more from the American Legion Baseball Centennial Classic Legion Field at Farley Park here in Milbank, coming up after this. Leading off, catcher number 12, Dylan Alexander for Glenwood Lowry. Again, they are leading here 10-2. Bottom of the 6th inning. Here's the pitch. That's on the ground to third. Over to first. The out is complete. So Dylan Alexander grounds out third to first. And that will bring up Noah Jensen here. What has he done this afternoon? 2 2-run homers. And he reached on a hit by pitch. One to over the 390 mark in right center, and the other one to left field. 2 2-run homers this afternoon so far by this man at the plate, Noah Jensen. And here's the pitch. That is low and outside on the outside corner anyway. 1 ball and 1 strike. Here's the 1-1. That is low and outside to Jensen. 2 balls and 1 strike now to Noah Jensen for Glenwood Lowry. Posts 187 and 253. And here's the pitch. That is another tape measure shot into left field, but that is going to be actually just medium deep center field as that ends up. When that left his bat, I thought that was going to go further than that, but a fly out to left field. And that will bring up now Connor Erickson, the right fielder. Connor Erickson this afternoon has grounded out to short. Reached on a fielder's choice, singled, and scored a couple runs. So Connor Erickson, now there's the pitch, the second pitch to him, also misses. 2 balls and no strikes.
1-1 game is 6-3. Right? 6-3.
Here's the pitch to Erickson. That sails inside, and it does catch a piece of Erickson, so he goes to first on the hit by pitch. And that will bring up Alex Panitsky now.
Alex Panitsky.
Alex Panitsky, a triple, a single, walked, and scored 3 runs. Throw over to first. Diving back in head first safely, Connor Erickson. And the pitch, here it is. That is low. Snap throw down to first. They've got the runner between first and second, but getting too far to second and sliding in safely is Connor Erickson. As pitcher Jaden Paul that time, he threw back to first base. And by that time, just about to second already was Connor Erickson. So Connor Erickson at second now. Panitsky. Here's the pitch. That's high. 2 balls and no strikes.
Some years you got 3 or 4
2 balls, no strikes. Here comes the pitch. That is on the outside corner. 2 balls and 1 strike now to Alex Panitsky. Bottom of the 6th, Glenwood Lowry is leading Lemoore, North Dakota here 10-2.
He was in high school about time
And there is a walk to Panitsky, so he takes first base. Staying at second, of course, is Connor Erickson. That'll bring up Levi Johnson now, the shortstop. A couple of RBIs, single and a double, and he is struck out. And they step off the mound, does Jaden Paul. It's good he didn't throw back to second because there was nobody there, his teammates, so he did not throw it back to second wisely. And there's the pitch. That is low, 1 ball and 1 strike. Erickson on second, Panitsky on first for Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota here this afternoon. (10-2), Glenwood Lowry in front. Here's the pitch. That's a strike at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes. So 1 ball and 2 strikes now as Levi Johnson patiently waits. Here comes the pitch. That's a fastball that sails a little bit high. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. Comes the 2-2. There's a swing and a foul tip, and actually that ends up being a strikeout. So that is strikeout number 1 this afternoon for relief pitcher Jaden Paul. 6.5 for 6 complete. In the American Legion Baseball Centennial Classic, Legion Field here at Farley Park, birthplace of American Legion Baseball, Milbank, South Dakota. And we'll be back with more shortly. And Mason Workin leads off for Lemoore here in the top of the 7th inning. Welcome back to our video and audio stream here on BigStoneRadio.com. And here's the pitch. That misses. 2 balls and no strikes now to Workin. Here's the pitch. That gets away from the catcher. Back to the screen, but no harm done, of course, because nobody is on base. So Workin, it was the 3-0 count. He takes a 4-pitch walk.
The catcher number 1, Logan Potts.
That'll bring up Logan Potts. And we're in the top of the 7th now. It's 10-2 in favor of Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota. Here's the pitch to Logan Potts. He takes a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike now. Logan Potts has an RBI single. He has grounded out. And there is a catch in left field. What a nice catch out there. Connor Fry, I believe, out there in left field, caught that one. And that now will bring up Jaron Reagan, number 36, the first baseman. He's grounded out, he has struck out, and he has reached on a fielder's choice, opposite field, and that's going to be a single. As the left-handed batter goes the opposite way and dumps it into left field for a single. Again, if you're just tuning in, Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota scored 5 in the first, 2 in the third, 2 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, and none in the 6th. And it looks like we are going to have a pitching change here as Mark Gruber is done for the afternoon. And we will catch up with the changes, and we'll take another little break here, and we'll be right back with the defensive changes here for Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota. So a pitching change. Welcome back to our stream here for Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota. Braylon Sharmer is the pitcher, and Mark Gruber goes to second. So just a straight defensive switch for Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota. Posts 187 and 253, who has a 10-2 lead here in the top of the seventh. Don't forget, we'll continue our video and audio stream, but we'll pick up our friends here at KMSD for the next game. Broken Bow, post 126 from Nebraska. We'll take on Milbank, post number 9, the host team here. That's about a 2:30 start. So,
now batting for Lemoore, right fielder number 24, Jake Kramer.
Jake Kramer will bat now for Lemoore. With runners on first and second for Lemoore. Here's the pitch. That is a pop fly into right field. Connor Erickson camps under it and puts that one away. And that will bring up Joey Potts now, the designated hitter.
Designated hitter number 10, Joey Potts.
And here's the pitch. That is high. It's outside. Snap throw back to second, and they have him out at second. Oh, what a nice play by the catcher that time. And that is your ball game. Glenwood Lowry, Minnesota 10, and Lemoore, North Dakota 2. And we are going to leave our video stream here quite shortly, but we will tell you that Glenwood Lowry scored 5 in the first, 2 in the third, 2 in the fourth, and 1 in the fifth. And Lemoore with 2 runs and 9 hits. And yeah, the hitting hero for Glenwood Lowry this afternoon, Noah Jensen, 2 two-run homers, 1 in the first and 1 in the third. And more Centennial Classic baseball coming up on our video stream and audio stream like you've just been watching, and we'll pick up KMSD coming up. Milbank and Broken Bow, Nebraska. That's straight ahead at about 2:30. And for now, goodbye everybody, and thanks for tuning in, and thanks for listening and watching. It was Glenwood Lowry, post 187 and 253.10. Lemoore, North Dakota, post number 19.2. And we're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more video and audio streaming at about 2:30 or a little bit before here this afternoon from the Centennial Baseball Tournament. For now, good afternoon, everybody.